65 of the Strength Culture.
Wait, I fucked that up. Do it again. It wasn't working. Go.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's on now.
Welcome to chapter 65 of the Strength Culture Presents Quantum Lifting podcast, where we're still stuck in our isolated recording studio, and we would like to, because we had this strong discussion before. Well, actually, before we get into that, we're going to quickly talk about our recap of isolation, what we've achieved as a team in Strength Culture, because we've done some pretty good stuff. We've set ourselves up and put ourselves in a really good position for when we're coming back, when the gym does open up again. So we're going to recap all that and talk a little bit about what we're doing and the things you can expect from us, because there are some cool things coming up. But before we get to that, Jamie and I were having a discussion because I wanted to do the podcast normally in the studio, because I thought that the restrictions had been lifted so that we could have 5 people over at our house from now on. So that would mean that it would be okay for us to do our podcast in the studio like normal. However, Jamie Smith disagreed. Jamie Busiotis disagreed. And I wanted to know what the hell the difference was, because if we can have 5 people over, why can't we record a podcast together?
Because it's the same thing. If we can have 5 people over, why can't we have 5 people in the gym? Like, it's not a fact that you're having 5 people over. The fact is that it's for social gatherings. That's it. It's at home, social with friends and family. It's not at work, recording podcasts, fucking training. Like, it's
the thing with the gym being the reason is because the gym is apparently a high.
It's not even the gym. It's every business now. Daniel Andrews said, "Fucking work from home if you can." And podcasting is working. So don't do a non-social distance podcast if you don't have to, which is what we've decided not to do.
Podcasting is leisure. It's leisure.
But, well, our fucking podcast is just fucking shit talk the whole time.
We also decided that podcasting, if we podcasted from home together, that was legal.
Yeah, that would be fine.
So then I was like, well, why the fuck can't we do this year? Anyway, we've decided not to do it. We're going to do the Zoom call still. Unfortunately,
this will probably be the last Zoom call. Though. I think within 2 weeks we should be able to do some work.
The next one will be a Zoom call because we've got a guest from overseas.
Oh, we do too. Yeah, Bryce Krawczyk's coming on. It's going to be good fun.
That's next week. We're going to record that one, so that'll be put up in a couple of weeks' time, which will be good. That'll be exciting.
If you have a guest that you would like the 2 of us to talk shit with, let us know, because we're actually going to start reaching out to people. Now that we know how easy it is to use these Zoom things, we're going to start reaching out to people and trying to get some online podcast recordings done. So if you've got somebody that you want us to talk to, let us know, because we would love to reach out to them.
We would like to get more guests on, especially even overseas guests. And so we're using our network that we currently have to try and lure some big fish in. But yeah, basically that is what I wanted to talk about at the start. But now we'll get straight onto what we had planned. So coming into lockdown, obviously, was a bit of a scary time. You don't know what's going to happen. The gym was shut. All of a sudden, the equipment was all taken. The gym literally looks like when we first started with, concrete floor. Like the rubber mats are even gone. So it literally looks like an empty warehouse with a dumbbell rack and a comp platform. So it was a little bit scary. We didn't know what was going to happen. However, now it's been 7 weeks or whatever it's been, and you sort of start to adapt to this lifestyle.
This week 8.
We set some goals at the start of certain things that we wanted to achieve, and I feel like we have achieved those. So one of those for me was 31X1, the program that I have written. I also wanted to write a mini ebook to go with it, which has turned out to be about a dozen-ish pages once we put all the graphics and stuff in. So that will be coming out very, very shortly. So that was one of my goals. The other goal we had was the online Zoom seminar, which we have done, which is now up for purchase on the website. It will sit there forever. It's $89. That's the full recording of 3 hours of Jamie and I talking about programming. We go through motor unit recruitment. We go through RPE. We go through our programming principles, specificity, fatigue management, phase potentiation, our programming variables, volume, intensity, frequency, rep range, exercise selection. So it's all that 3 hours of that really, really useful content. I highly recommend $89. So that was the 2 goals I set, and achieved both of those. So I'm very happy. It's also products that are going to actually be able to be sold beyond lockdown forever on the website. So I'm personally very happy with those. Jamie, what was your goals and what have you achieved? And
well, the biggest thing for me was, I actually felt a little bit. It took me a little while, maybe like 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks, to get over the feeling of not doing online personal training. I made a post about this at the very start with Elon Musk, where he talks about how he's revolutionizing rocket use so that it can be reused to reduce the overall cost of space travel. And that was my motivation when I thought about the COVID closure. And I didn't want the business to move in the direction of something that wasn't going to be reusable long term. And if we were to have potentially 3 months, it looks like it will be 3, maybe 4 months now, of closures. What I wanted from the business was not something that was only going to be used for those 3 to 4 months. Like, that is a very short term, the rabbit and the hare analogy, or the rabbit and the tortoise analogy.
it's plugging holes.
You're just trying to, as quickly as you can, scrap together to keep the revenue up. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me why you would want to do that, considering that we already have a very successful online coaching stream set up, and all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't something that I wanted to do with the business, and it's just something that we decided as a team not to pursue. So then the other side of the coin was, all right, well, what can we do in this next potentially 3, 4, 5, 6 months, to create long-lasting growth for the business? And for us, it was to push our education stream as hard as we possibly could. And that just coincidentally coincided with the coach development program. So that was probably the biggest thing for us. It actually started the day that we got closed, Monday, the 23rd of March. I set that date nearly 9 months prior to that was when I wanted to start it. And then we just so happened that COVID closure. So there's something there. I don't know if that's the 5G towers scrambling my DNA, but I think maybe COVID was set up to help Strength Culture in the long run. But the closure for us was the biggest thing for us as a team, was to push the education stuff. So the online seminars, which was fantastic, that RPE one that you discussed, we had 30 people in there and I thought it went really well. Feedback was awesome. We've had some more downloads since we've put it up on the website. So that was the first product that we've ever sold on the website other than merch. And I think that's a really, really good first product to put up there. We actually have some more going up. 31X1, as you discussed, Jamie B is writing Vither, which is like a work capacity, hypertrophy, strength fused program. It'll kick the shit out of you. It's very, very difficult. I ran it for 6 weeks. We had a bunch of guys in the gym here run it as well. That'll be ready to launch as well when gyms reopen. And then Jamie B and I are doing a conditioning for the strength athlete, or conditioning for lifters, which will be on the 29th of May. And then we'll come out of this COVID closure with some products on the website and a very, very sound first crack at an online mentorship, which has been fantastic, and something I'm very, very proud of. It's probably the biggest thing that I've ever put my brain towards. I actually think it is a bigger task than actually setting up the gym was, but it's been incredible, and I'm very, very happy with it. The feedback and the team that we've got in there has been awesome. And just overall, very successful period, like a very successful period for Strength Culture, and just hoping that we can come out on the other side and hit the ground running and get the clients back, get everybody back, and get this place humming again, because I definitely miss it. I know a lot of people miss it. We've discussed some of the social side of things here at Strength Culture. I didn't realize just how much of my life was Strength Culture, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. And it's gone now, and I'm feeling it, and I want it back, and it will be back, and we'll be crushing it again.
I struggled early. Now I'm starting to adapt. I'm starting to climatize, and I'm kind of enjoying just all the alone time I have, which I think has been really useful for me, because you do live such a high speed, fast paced life. You're always dealing with clients and people, and then on the weekend you've got comps to go to, we've got seminars, we're flying into state, which has become a lot of our job the last couple of years, which I know last year in the first half of the year, we flew into state like 6 times, and it gets quite, fast paced, and you don't get a lot of time to, as well as social events on the weekend, a lot of time to just sit down and just be sort of with yourself. And I've noticed that the last couple of weeks, I've really started to embrace that. And so like, I haven't played COD for 2 weeks, and instead I'm leaning more towards like sitting in my room and just reading and like going for walks. Like last night I went for a walk without any headphones or any other distractions. I'm just going to walk and just let my thoughts do whatever, and sort of like a mindful walk. And I've noticed I've started to enjoy that stuff. So I think this period's given me a good balance between living that sort of faster paced lifestyle of always dealing with clients and working and comps and seminars, to now also going, you need a bit of time to sort of dedicate to self-reflection and alone time.
A deload.
Yeah, mental deal. Well, I think it's just a bit more balanced. I think I've really I personally have taken away from this period this idea of when I sit down to do something, do it. So when I sit down to work, it's like just work for 2 hours, and then afterwards you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can
bum around,
play guitar, you can go for walks, go hang out with friends. Whereas I feel like I used to drag things out a little bit, and then then I would be doing both half shit.
Yeah.
So I'd be working, but I'd make 90 minutes of work across 4 hours because I'd be getting up and doing other stuff or piss farting around. So I've really taken that skill from this lockdown period. But at the same time, I will look very much forward to the gym reopening, because at the end of the day, that's our livelihood. That's what people want from us and look up to us for and come to us, which is pretty awesome. But it has been a very useful period, this lockdown for me. Pivotal. Well, it's 27. It's the 27. It's the 27 club. We're in the 27 club.
What do you mean?
That's the club. That's the age. That's the age.
Isn't that the age where everyone dies?
Yeah, everyone dies, or that it's meant to be the age like when you sort of have like, it's like transitioning from like that young adolescent adult to a more mature adult, which makes sense. It's like 27, 28 to be that around that age where we're starting to go from all the traveling, partying, like you've come out of that 20-year-old age to now going, oh, hang on, what do I want to be in life? What do I want to do? Which I notice.
I feel that.
I'm sure all of us have, me and you mostly, because Jamie B and Didier are still a bit younger than us. They'll get there. But I've noticed I've had, so it's come at a perfect time, lockdown.
I feel that transition for myself personally over the last probably 12, 18 months as well.
Because I've noticed, for me, something I've realized is coaching is good. I enjoy, but it's also, it's become the locksmith that we talk about. The locksmith that can change the lock in 2 minutes because it's 10 years of. So for me, coaching people and writing programs and stuff, I know we can get results. So it becomes almost autonomous. You're not even thinking about it half the time. You just bang, 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 bang. And I've realized my job is only as interesting as I make it. And that means doing other shit, pushing the boundaries, learning. Like we run seminars, like setting up, having involvement in the coach development program last week and again next week, writing 31X1, setting up the mentorship that I want to set up down the track. Having that is going to make the job interesting and actually make it like you're going to grow from it, because otherwise it just can become very mundane and monotonous. But that's upon myself, upon you to do those things.
Yeah, well, that's one of the because we don't have like a boss per se. Yeah, like I own this place, but it's not like like I'm sure you've never felt like you've had a boss to answer questions. Like it doesn't. It's we are creating. We have the opportunity to create here, and it's on us to do that and to take forward steps and to see trends in the market and see what we can do to improve and push our business. Because I definitely feel that it's that whole thing where the wolf climbing the mountain. I'm not saying that we're at the top of the mountain or anything like that, but even just like coaching career, like it's when you're learning the skills of how to coach and build programs and setting up structures and systems, like that's the fun stuff. But once you've built everything and you've developed your system, then all of a sudden the decision is like, oh, do I run this person with 7s or 8s on their RPE? Like it becomes like, oh, well, this is no longer challenging for me because I understand it to a point where it's just
it's autonomous.
It's autonomous. So it no longer becomes not fulfilling. Fulfilling's not the right word because you still enjoy your job, you still love your job, you still love results, your clients, and all that sort of stuff. But because it's no longer a challenge, it no longer is.
It doesn't make you grow or adapt.
Yeah. So finding those opportunities to expand. Yeah, I definitely. It's the journey is the destination. You want to start a new journey, and for us now, it's all right. Well, someone actually messaged me because I put up on Instagram, and if everybody's following this and they want to help us out here, we want a new logo. Not that it's going to take over our current logo or anything like that, but I just want something fresh. Like we're nearly being 5 years here at Strength Culture now. Like we've used this thing a lot. We've got a lot of merch out there. It's a lot of banners. I actually own the name Strength Culture now as well. We originally didn't own that, but now I do. So I would love to just see what somebody creative out there can create a logo for us. It can use the bird if they want to use the bird. It can use Strength Culture. It can use Melbourne Strength Culture. And that the payback for you guys, whoever does create it, I've had a few sent to me. Whoever does create it, they'll get free merch. Whenever we use that logo on our merch, I will send you a whole bundle of merch. And that will be forever and eternity. Anything we use your logo on and we can give it to you, we'll go and give it to you. And you can obviously become part of our brand and become part of our journey, which I think is a cool thing. And if I was creative, it's something that I would want to do for somebody. I don't even know where I was going with that.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, 5 years. Oh yeah, we're
5 years.
Yeah, like we're 5 years in. Like it's what's next. How can we? And I think this I've thought about it as well because I like dealing with the mentors. Like we will never ever get an opportunity to restart a business. Like there are so many things that like as you know, like there's so many potholes in our back end systems of just things that we didn't know, or particularly I didn't know how to create when we were growing this thing. But this has given myself an opportunity to slow down and actually like, all right, well, I need to change it. I'm thinking about changing our coaching shifts and potentially trying to reduce our overall hours on that front. Like there's a few things that I want to do. I'm like, oh, is this a possibility? And like, there's no better time than now to do that. So I actually feel like coming out of this, it's almost like a rebirth for us. It's like a new thing. It's like, all right, we've got 4 years experience behind us. Now let's start the next journey. So it's a rebirth, COVID rebirth.
It's a phoenix
culture. It's a phoenix. Oh, it's not the ashes. It was never in the ashes, but
Hawks the phoenix. But for me, I was personally very burnt out. Like I was on this, like I hadn't been away.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a few months.
And I've been saying it for months. And I just feel like, yeah, I'll take two, like we'd have a long weekend and I come back to work and I'm like, I still like just felt no like sense of like, I feel refreshed. I was still like, almost like I was just dragging my heels through the mud. And then I was meant to go to obviously my trips, which aren't going to happen this year, but Africa will get moved to next year. But having this period has been very refreshing for me. I feel refreshed. I feel a bit more rejuvenated. And I do feel like we've reassessed, we've recalibrated things. As I've realized a little bit more what I want out of my job, my career, my life in this period, but I'm coming back a lot more refreshed, which has been good. And so, you know, there's a few other skills I've learned as well, like how to set up, record with Loom for the mentorship content. Obviously how simple it is to use Zoom. I'd never used Zoom before this.
It's so easy.
Before this we had to, which was, you know, in this period. But so there's been some really useful stuff there. But yeah, I think it's been good. And I think what we've realized too is that when we first opened the gym, a lot of the juice in the product was on the floor. But we've realized lately that that's not really, we don't need to be out there as much as we are. It's more in the back end stuff, which we've improved massively. And we probably was that 18 months, 2 years ago, we improved that and we saw a massive improvement in retention. But we've probably even gotten better with that as time's gone on. And that's where sort of, I think the value is for the client, because at the end of the day, like, and I really liked how Potsy has started working with Ross from RTS. And he's like, when we talk about this too, if your technique is, you know, 80% of the way there, it's in this bandwidth of like where we
You've
want
got
it.
You've
He's
got
like, I'm not going to do any technique work with you. It's just going to be managing loads, managing intensities, managing volume. And I'm like, that's pretty much what we talk about. And like, so many people want technique. I'm like, there really isn't that much technique. When you've sort of built those sound technical, those motor patterns, they're just there. And yeah, occasionally a little bit of fine tuning, but it's managing loads, volume, intensity to get the
Dan
result.
Cadisi's quote, man. You manage loads, you manage minds. That's
Manage
literally
minds,
our job.
that's it.
It's got nothing to do with technique. It's got nothing to do with it. Like, it's just not what our job is.
And we really don't get too many like from scratch beginners anymore. Like a lot of clients that sign up are people that have already got lifting experience. They've already been doing, whether it's on their own.
They've had a coach before or something. Yeah.
Whether it's on their own, they're already invested in learning about it and they've learned quite a bit. They come with sort of a sound base. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we do with the gym going forward. But I'm definitely glad we didn't take the Zoom online.
PT.
I reckon that would have made me a bit more.
I would have quit. I would have quit my own business.
I would have. I was not doing that.
They still pop up on Instagram, and I'm just like, man, I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that.
But I don't think our clients want that. Our clients aren't. We haven't created clients like that. We run the semi-private model where we create the goals to create an autonomous athlete with their own mind, their own ability to make decisions. They don't need us sitting on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
They do their sessions, and then if they have questions, they put it in their weekly update or they message us, and we or they put it in there when they send their videos.
Yeah,
they don't need to be sitting because we haven't created that environment to begin with. So I don't think we didn't need that. But it's also plugging holes because what we've created out of this mentor,
we created a whole new boat. We didn't plug a hole; we created a whole new boat.
Well, exactly. And a whole set, I feel a set of skills. Like for me, my writing has improved, my ability to, some skills that are probably not lost, but hadn't used for a while since uni. Like
a bit rusty.
Yeah, just finding research, reading through material, learning how to skim read, not read a whole body of text, because sometimes you don't need to read the whole body of text. You can just skim read to get the points that you need. Then writing. And those things are going to be more valuable than sitting on the end of a Zoom call. Yeah, you might save 10% of your 15, 20% of your clients.
Yeah, but it's a short game. It is a short game.
That's what ScoMo's for. That's his job. About the job keeper.
The other thing I wanted to discuss was outside of work. What have you done with your time then?
Me? I've been playing a lot of guitar.
We need a new update. We need an update on your Instagram.
I put up a story on last week. You see?
Yeah, we need an actual song. I am playing this song.
That was a fucking Save Tonight, Eagle Eye Cherry.
Oh yeah. I got that one. Yeah.
I've been learning a Ocean Alley song, Partner in Crime, which is good. I've been a bit shit with some. It's like I've learned the start of them, and I've just never gone on to learn the next bit. So
yeah.
But Ocean Alley, Partner in Crime, Save Tonight, Mr. Jones by Counting Crows.
Oh, nice.
Easy-ish chords to grasp. But now I want to start, and I might have a Zoom call with Aaron Sims. We were chatting about it because he wants to teach me some more bluesy licks and stuff which I've started learning, pull-ons, pull-offs, slides, all that. But he said he broke down some of the Teskey Brothers music, and he's like, I'll be happy to show. We'll jump on a Zoom call, and so I might jump on a Zoom call with him and learn some stuff from him. Other than that,
the Teskey Brothers are unreal. Have you listened to them?
Yeah, they're like bluesy kind of.
Man, they're one of my favorite bands ever. I fucking love them.
They're kind of like bluesy.
They're from Melbourne as well. What the hell?
Crazy. Yeah, he said he saw them. Aaron saw them play about a year ago. He said they were really good.
Man, they're unreal.
Other than that, I've fallen down a rabbit hole of. I've got this fascination with murderers and prison. I'm reading Goulburn Jail's Goulburn Jail, Australia's most murderous prison, and there were 7 murders committed in a 2.5-year period. And then also just listening to this podcast called Morbid, where they go through serial killers. And one of them was from Australia, Catherine Knight, and she killed her husband and skinned him alive. Skinned him after. It was fucked. But then Jeffrey Dahmer as well. And I found out Pete is into all this shit too. So we've been talking about it.
Been chatting about.
Pete's like, yeah, who's your favorite serial killer? I'm like, oh, I don't know if I have one, but I just got this fascination with, because they're so I was like to Pete, what the fuck? Why do we interested in, you know, I think it's because we're so different from them that it's almost like,
it's unfathomable. Like, how do you,
like Ivan Milat, like it's very, And so that's why there's this fascination in why, like even Ted Bundy, watched his thing and he was like charismatic and charming. So he used to lure in girls with his charm and kill them and rape them. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, it's just, the moral code is so different within those people. And then also just the fascination of prison, like the shit that goes on in prison. Like I found out how they get drugs into prison.
How?
Their missus brings it in up their vagina. Yeah. They then take it out. They go to the vending machine. They buy a bag of chips. They'll open the bag of chips, put the drugs in the bag of chips, offer their partner who's in jail a chip. He then takes it, slips it into his overalls, will then shove it up his ass and walk back in the prison. And they're shoving mobile phones up their ass. And like, I've become very fascinated with this world that like, I don't ever want to experience, but it's just, I don't know, it's fucking. And then the concept of they literally sit, like Ivan Milat was in Supermax in Goulburn, and he sits in a 2 by 3 meter cell, pretty much 22 to 23 hours a day.
Yeah. And
just and they're out for like 1, maybe 2 hours. And like those guys in Supermax don't even barely get to see other people because they're fucked cunts. They're just trouble. Like, and they cause trouble within the system. That's pretty much, you go to Goulburn Supermax if you're like causing trouble in other jails or within Goulburn itself. So like Bassam Hamzi, which is like, he like killed someone when he was 20. He was at Long Bay jail and now he's been shipped over to Supermax, Goulburn Supermax. And he got caught with all these mobile phones and he was making 200 calls a day. He was still running his drug empire from prison and ordering hits on people and stuff. It was
how?
Because he's just making calls in prison.
How?
It fascinates me.
It's like the Jeff Epstein thing. Like,
yeah, it's just like these guys are fucking, yeah.
How does this shit go for, it's crazy.
That's what I've been doing.
Nice. I've been playing Warzone. Jay Banger Maletti. You've been on the Warzone with Klaz and Todd. And
you're Jay Banger Maletti and Jared's K Banger Maletti.
Yeah. So I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. Obviously, you know this, but we only really have one TV. It's a nice TV, but we only have one of them. And I felt bad because I was having like 4-hour sessions on the weekend not playing COD, and like had the headphones in, like, oh, I'm down, pick me up, yeah, over there, red ping, like full tactics. And then I felt really bad, so I bought myself a 27-inch monitor for my room and a small bookshelf to put it on. And now I have an outdoor garden chair that I sit on whilst I play COD for 3 to 4 hours every weekend. Yeah, I bought my own PlayStation. It was Jared's PlayStation. It was my TV. And I felt bad for always using it. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just buy my own thing. So I've got this little setup. My room is tiny, but I've got this setup in the corner. That's crazy. It's like my zone.
Crazy.
And yeah, Jay Banger Maletti out on the thing. Other than that, though, that's pretty much. I've actually, I know I wanted to do a little bit of learning. I hadn't done much like hard skill learning for a little while. I've been doing a lot of business reading and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I would say my passion has shifted, definitely. Part of that conversation that we already have discussed with that, coaching isn't really that challenging anymore. The management side of things is, but I like to be challenged. And for me, it's this business and this opportunity to grow this thing further. So I've done a lot of learning in the last 12 to 18 months on business-based stuffs, sales things, sales books, accounting systems, learning. I've been a lot more heavily in like trading and all that sort of stuff as well. But my quench to learn something new came back. So I downloaded an online course from Gary Ward, who's I think he's a physical therapist, but lower chain biomechanics of gait cycle. So I've been learning that, and he talks a fuck ton about the foot, and I've learned so much about the foot and the foot structure and the foot action, foot mechanics. And that's been really cool. So that's something else I'm about 60% of the way through that course, which has been fun. And then Warzone would be the only other thing, and building coach development program. I pretty much still had a full-time job this whole time because I've just been building that. But where we'll be opening up. I actually got a meeting with my mother, who is our bookkeeper, to discuss some money-based things. But we'll be opening up our second intake. It will either be this July 1st or it might be mid-June. But all dates and details for that, because I've started to get some questions for it, will be open. All information will be open probably in the next 1 to 2 weeks on when we'll be taking, where it will be, the price and all that sort of stuff. Because the price will definitely be going up after realizing how much value is in this thing. The price is definitely going up. So we look forward to it. So if you are interested, either shoot me an email and I'll put you on a little bit of a list. And you'll get the details, or just keep an eye on the socials because it's coming. Intake 2 is coming.
Just to add with the learning thing, I started watching a bloody. I want to learn the next sort of step of hypertrophy. So like the mTOR pathways and all that. And I started watching a thing on on mTOR. But then as I started, about 5 minutes in, Klaz ran into my room with a cut because he cut himself with a fucking sore at work. So then that abruptly stopped, and I was like, oh, I'm not fucking watching it now. Like, you got to be in the zone to watch that sort of stuff. But that's sort of, because I've been wanting to learn a little bit more about that
physiology-based stuff. Just get a physiology textbook. There's a few here at the gym.
I've got the exercise physiology one in the car that you gave me.
Yeah. Oh, is that where that is?
Yeah, I've got it.
Ah, you dog. Fair enough.
Yeah, I haven't had a squeeze. I might have a squeeze of it.
Yeah. The JPS actually just put up a really good blog on strength training and actual physiological mechanisms of strength training.
Did they?
Yeah. A blog, yeah.
I'll read that today.
Brian Miner, I think his name is. He wrote it, so that'll be up there as well. The other thing I want to say is this will be the last thing we discuss, but The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, Stocko, crazy. If you have not watched that, get on The Last Dance.
I'll finish
8 episodes up.
We're 2 episodes in, but I'll finish with a really good story that James Malvaso told me probably 6 months ago. And I forgot it. I actually had to message Lucy to get him to retell me it. But basically, at the Bulls Arena, like, I don't know what it's called, but there was a promo that would go on at halftime where like these digital like men would run around and like they'd pick a participant from the crowd and they had to guess who was going to win. And Jordan used to get there earlier before everyone because he was just that kind of athlete, get there, warm up, shoot hoops, whatever. And the tech guy would always be there running this thing. And he got on talking to him and he's like, is it the same like when it happens at halftime? He goes, yeah, that's the same. So like that's the guy that will win it. That number will win it. And Jordan's like, all right, mad. So then he used to sit there with Scottie Pippen and be like, oh, I'll bet you $100 that that one will win. And for like 2 years, he just had Scottie Pippen on, and Scottie Pippen had no idea, and he kept losing every single time. So he was gambling while he was playing.
It's not that he's gambling. I think he just wants to fucking compete. Yeah, I don't think he's as he said, he's like, I don't have a gambling problem. I've got a competing problem. Like everything just has to be a competition. And the easiest way to do that is just put money on the line. So, and then the other thing, like, and he said it, he's like, if I had a gambling problem, or he talks about it, there's a whole episode on a gambling problem. He's like, man, if I had a gambling problem, my kids would be talking about it. My wife would be talking about it. My bloody exes would be talking about it. He's like, I don't have a gambling problem. I have a competing problem. I have to win. And then, so apparently he was throwing $1,000 holes on his golf games. And I was thinking, I'm like, man, this guy is, and this was probably like 8 years into his career. So he's probably, and back then, like contracts were like $1.5, $2 million or whatever they were per year. But even still, I'm like $1,000 for somebody that's making $3 million off a basketball contract, plus who knows what from Nike endorsements as really the first global athlete. Like, I'm sorry, but $1,000 on a golf hole, just shut the fuck up. Like this guy's making who knows a day, $200,000 a
$20
day. Like, who gives a fuck? Like,
It's relative. It's just
oh
relative.
man, yeah,
20
So-
bucks for us.
But yeah, fascinating documentary.
But
I'm
the final
loving it.
question is, who is the GOAT?
Still, LeBron James will still beat him in basketball. I'm sorry, but I understand Michael Jordan has the best career ever, most influential, first global athlete, all that sort of stuff. But I still can't. LeBron James is a monster.
Yeah.
He's 6'8". He weighs 125 kilos, man. Like, he's a fucking monster.
LeBron James. Look, at the end of the day, you can't compare the two because they're from different and it's different context too. Like we've spoken about with James, that Jordan, different context. No athlete had gone globally. No athlete had been sponsored. Like, he was the first one to do all that. And he was also just a freak,
a freak.
60, 70-point games and stuff, and backing them up. And he won 6 championships. Like 6 championships in the 8 years or whatever it was is like, that's unheard of in any sport.
Yeah.
So it's all that's in, but whereas probably purely from just playing standpoint.
Athletic ability and size and power and speed and everything. LeBron James is a freak. And he's done it for like 20 years non-stop. And he'll finish his career as number 1 points and probably number 1 assists. And like, it's, crazy.
Well, we'll wrap it up. Last thing, I'm going on the High Performance podcast today as well.
Suss that out.
This won't be released today, but
it can. Like, I don't need to check out now.
May, I will be going on the High Performance podcast. I'm not sure when they're going to release it, but stay tuned. So that would be cool.
We can just chuck it up today, man. Let's do this today.
Yeah, we can.
All right.
Today we'll be going up, 14th of May.
The last thing I want to plug is May 29th is conditioning for the lifter. If you want 90 minutes of 45 minutes of theory, 45 minutes of application of how to build in conditioning-based principles in your athletes, in your own training, if you feel like you're missing out on something there from aerobic development and just health perspective as well, recovery perspective, jump in on that. Tickets are $30, 29th of May, 12 p.m. Other than that, we are done.
Last thing, Mindset Toolbox as well. Go to the website. If you're interested in receiving that content, go to the website, chuck your email in. It's in the content tab, podcast, chuck your email in. You get an email from us, and that's how you do that. But yeah, we are done. We are done now.
Mate.